Hello everyone, I'm Paul. A while back, David, or Sir David from RCAF Polarexpress put out a wood stove challenge. Anyways, I happen to have a wood stove, or somewhat of one. The wood stove I have here has been manufactured by Stove Builders International Incorporated, and it's a DROLET TUNDRA 2. Oh boy guys, this thing heats up real fast, and it heats up the other rooms where the heat is going to be distributed to really quick. It's a great system. One thing I want to mention to you is the cleaning of the chimney. I have a very quick, easy, and very safe way of cleaning my chimney. So let's get outside and take a look at that. So when it comes to cleaning the chimney, you can see here my chimney is inside a chimney chase. The chimney inside the chimney chase is the steel chimney, and what I use for cleaning that, I use a polypropylene brush. It's a 6-inch brush. I used to have the clay tiles here before, and I used to use a steel brush. You can see there's a little bit of a difference. Not much, but there's a lot more tines on this one than there are on this. In addition to that, I used to go up on top of the roof and I used to clean it from the top down. But now with these rods here, they're very flexible, and I just join them together. You can see here there's a female end and then there's a threaded male end, and they just twist them together and you can make whatever length of rod that you need to get to the top of your chimney. So what I do is I insert the chimney rod down here underneath. So I'll put this, I'll mount, show you here quickly. I'll just mount this in here, twist it in. And once that's in there, then I join the rest of my rods, and then all I have to do is put it up underneath into the hole, and I insert it, then I push it all the way up to the top. So it's very safe by doing it on the ground compared to what I used to do with the old clay one I used to do from the top. Now I have the advantage, obviously, because my chimney comes out at a nice height. I can get underneath it. You can see why I wear a mask when I do this here. You can see all the soot here. It's quite a bit of a pile coming off of that. It's very fine. A little bit of the darker stuff here where it was probably a little bit wet. But you can see here in the, up here where I'm putting the brush is going right up in the hole up in there. And you can also see up in the chimney now, maybe a little bit, oh no, you might be able to see the light at the other end of the tunnel, as they say. But now I can see it's clear all the way up to the top. There is a chimney cap on the top of this chimney, so basically when I put the brush up, this brush here, I push it all the way until I hit that chimney cap. You can see here inside the chimney chase, maybe a little bit dark, but anyways, you can see it's a stainless chimney. And this here screw cap goes here on the bottom to close it up once I'm all finished up here underneath here. So yeah, it's nice and clean in here now. Okay guys, I just want to tell you a little bit of the history to how I got here to my wood furnace. Originally I had a wood stove on the far side, which is the north side. I had a wood stove here on the south side of my house. I had both of them going on a regular basis, and it provided ample heat. The big problem was with the wood stove on the far side, we had it in a finished room and it was just too messy, so I swapped it out with a wood pellet stove. Well, the wood pellet stove was not an adequate heat source combined with the wood stove I had on this side of the house. So I swapped out the wood stove, and I put in some heat pumps on the far side, the north side of the house, and then I brought in this wood furnace here. One thing I'd like to point out before you actually purchase, whether it's a wood stove, pellet stove, wood furnace, or wood boiler, and that is 3 very important facts. The first thing you need to do is you got to go onto the internet and download a manual for whatever you're looking to purchase. And the reason for that is you want to see how easy it is to install. You want to know what requirements are in that manual for you to do the proper installation, because there are a lot of areas that you're going to have restrictions that you won't be able to either install that unit or in the space that you're thinking you're going to install it, it's not going to conform to the standards that are required. The next thing is it will tell you about the maintenance and how easy it is to look after that unit. The second thing, which is very critical, is to call your insurance company. Not all insurance companies will cover a wood stove, pellet stove, wood furnace, and so on. If they do cover it, basically they're going to ask you how much wood you burn and whether it's a primary source of heat or a secondary source of heat. And that will make a big difference on your insurance rate. The next thing you want to consider is if you do have an air exchange unit or a heat recovery unit in your home, you're going to have that, or most likely you're going to have it rebalanced, because your furnace is going, or your wood stove is going to draw air out of the house. So you're going to have those rebalanced. Now guys, I just want to talk a little bit about the stove itself. The body of it is made of carbon metal, and the upper part has a large plenum. And with the plenum, what it allows me to do is to use the ductwork that you see that's tied into it, and it will circulate the air throughout the house. On my unit here, you can see I have a baffle that says winter on it. It's a very short baffle, doesn't go in very far. And then put that back in there. And then I have a large baffle. You see here that says summer. You can see it's quite a bit larger. And the reason for that is that this unit, as you can see, there's some wiring and some tubes going in here. This is tied into my central air conditioner that's mounted outside, and you'll see it later when I show you about cleaning the chimney. This here is a couple service ports, and this is a drain port that runs down and it goes to my sump pump from when we're using the air conditioning unit on it. So this is winter now, it's nice cold, we have to put this baffle in, and then I replace it with the summer one when it's summertime. Here there's a thermal probe, and it goes down in here to the control box. And in the control box, you can see it's all been wired here. And this controls the baffle. I'll show you there later in the front. There's a baffle. It's controlled by a thermostat. So this wire here goes up through the air changer here. It goes up and it goes out and upstairs to a thermostat that's controlled this unit here. The thermostat has to be at some distance away in order for it to work accurately. The next thing I want to show you down here below is the big fan blower. The blower is pulling in air from this side, and it's also drawing air from the cool air or the fresh air intake. The fresh air intake goes up and then it runs out and then up to the upstairs, and it pulls down the cooler air from upstairs, nice fresh air, brings it in here, and then it goes up in through the system and it warms it up as it goes through. There is also a filter. I'm going to be putting one on this side. I only have the one on this side here. There's an air filter in here. It's 16 by 20 inches and 1 inch in depth, as you can see here. I have it out right now because I'm going to change it before I start the stove up. So I'm going to pull it. I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to change it just before I put the stove on. The pipes that I use, they're double-walled pipes. This pipe here is a telescopic pipe. So basically when I go to change or clean the pipe here, I just shrink the size of it. I just undo a couple screws underneath the tape and I shrink it, and then I can just pull it all apart. What I use is foil tape, and the foil tape, I just wrap it around at all the seams. There are screws that are holding everything together in case a lot of air get a big combustion and it wants to blow the pipe apart or whatever. So they are screwed together and then they're taped to keep the smoke from coming into the house. Here at the wall there's a thimble, and there's an air pocket going right around. The thimble is there because I'm going through a combustible wall, so I have to have something to protect from the wall from catching on fire, basically. Okay guys, I just want to show you from the front of the stove, and I want to start on the inside. You can see here, this is the baffle board, and I've got it pulled down. It normally sits up on the top, and I'll tell you why I have it pulled down in a minute. It normally sits up on the top, And it's made of aluminosilicate, and that's basically some of the silicone in it has been replaced with aluminum. Then we have the fire bricks, and the fire bricks are all different sizes, and they line the walls and the not the upper part, but the walls and the back part. And this is made of pumice and cement. Pumice is a volcanic rock, so that's used for that. The reason why I have this all pulled down right here is that I pulled down some of these secondary air tubes. These are stainless steel. This is one that I'm just replacing. Actually, I'm replacing all of them. There's 4. You can see here, I have 4 brand new ones. I'm going to put them in. They all have little holes. The purpose of the secondary air tube is to burn off all the gases and the small particulates from the first combustion. So when basically the air comes through here in the damper, and then it actually pulls in fresh air, does the first burn, and this actually does the second burn, so that when the stuff leaves or exhausts out to the chimney, is that it's burning most of the gases and the particulates inside the stove. I've got 4 of them. One thing I didn't like, $60. $60, guys, Canadian plus tax, one of these things. Wasn't too impressed, but they're they're a necessity. You have to have them. Something like this is pretty hard to redo on a drill press. And also you can see here on the side here, there's a locking mechanism that you have to, when you put them in, you use vice grips and you just turn them. You can see this is one of the 4 that I've taken out. It was damaged pretty good, and what happened, I guess, a lot of heat hitting at it and then banging the wood against it, bent it quite a bit. So talking about the door here, the door has a gasket. It's a fiberglass gasket. The glass is ceramic glass. And then we have our baffle here, and then above the baffle we have the heat exchanger. Just a wing nut here, and again here's a fiberglass gasket, and then there's 3 heat exchangers inside here. So these all have to be cleaned on a regular basis as well. Whenever I clean the stovepipes, clean the chimney, I also clean in here. Everything that you see here I take off and I clean it all up. Down at the bottom is the ash box. I'll show you that in a sec. Just want to lock this up. Here's the ash pan. The ash pan is basically 17 inches long, 12 inches across, and 6 inches deep, so we can get quite a bit of ashes in here. And the ashes, we get them down in there by using, let's get to move this baffle board carefully. Inside the stove here, there's a plug, and you just scrape all the ashes and it deposits down below into the ash pan. So it's just a large plug. Now you're going to do this when the stove is not hot, obviously. You don't want to burn your fingers. Here there's a little tray. The tray is just a little catch. It catches any of the embers, any coals or whatever when you're raking in there. Speaking of raking, I have some tools here. These are tools that came with the stove. This is a poker. This is just to grab stuff and to move it around. This tool here is for cleaning the soot, whatever's on the debris, whatever's built up on the air exchangers. You just go in and you scrape it, and you got to go right to the back of the stove, and that's why they're that long. And this here is a homemade version of a poker to some degrees. Just has a square or a rectangular blade. It's just a little easier to move stuff around inside there. One thing I didn't mention, this here is an electronic box, and it controls the damper, and the damper is controlled through the wires that are going back, I mentioned earlier, up to the thermostat. So I just want to talk about on the side here. On the side here we have, this is where the fresh air comes in for the airflow, and we're pulling it coming down, and it comes all the way from up here, and it follows the path and goes upstairs, and it pulls down all the fresh air from our cool air from upstairs. It pulls it all down and comes down through here and passes into where the fan is, or the blower, and it blows up and through here, and then it blows it through the house, the nice warm air, so it circulates the air. To get the stove going, what I normally do is I just open up the window here, and that brings a nice draw of cold air down. And you can see here I've already got it all started up. I got the firebox going. The damper is wide open right now, and it's controlled by the thermostat that's upstairs. I had put the secondary tubes inside, and you can see I've got a nice fire going. It's nice and warm, and it's drawing all the air up through the chimney. Now I just want to talk about a couple more things. Disadvantages. The big disadvantage of this unit here is that it takes quite a bit of room. You can see it's a very big system. It takes quite a bit of room up. And secondary to that is that a lot of work to put the install. It's a lot of things you have to know, how far it has to be from certain walls and things like that, but also to connect it into your existing ductwork. This plenum here is not the plenum that came with the unit. This is a modified plenum. This was all retrofit for in here. The plenum that comes with it has cylinder or circular ducts, and that's not going to work here in this unit here. Big advantage of this here is that this will circulate the air throughout different rooms in the house, opposed to having just a wood stove, where a wood stove is very hard, through my experience, very hard to get the wood heat to different areas in the house. We had great big floor grates before in the ceiling, and that's how we got the air to come up, and it was very hard to get the air to circulate down. One of the dislikes that I have, you can hear it just came on now, that's the blower. I find it a bit loud. It's not really that bad because this is my gym where this is, and that's not too bad. I don't mind it. Mind you, I don't have the stove going full blast when I'm working out here. I like to work out when it's cool. My biggest like is that I really like that it circulates throughout the house, and I don't have to have floor vents or floor grates to get the heat to come up, and I don't have to put secondary fans all over the place to get the air to circulate in the house. For my wife, her dislike is that it's messy, and it is. It leaves a trail wherever you bring the wood. So, and her like is she loves the wood heat. So, anyways, guys, for those of you that have stuck around, if you have a tractor, to stick around to the end, because I have something specifically special to show you, and that is my poster that I got over here on the wall. You can see my Kubota poster, and if you guys want one of these things, what you have to do is what I did. Just go to your Kubota dealer. I got this about over a year, more than a year, well, not more than a year, actually about a year after I bought my tractor. I went back and asked them to say, hey, have you got any of those posters left? Because I had seen one on the wall. So this is my tractor down here. It does come in a cab version. It's a 22 model. So all you have to do is, I got two of them actually. Go to your dealer, whatever brand of tractor you have, and ask them if they have a poster that, especially now, if you bought your tractor last year, obviously, or if you bought it this year, they should have a poster hanging around. It's kind of a nice little token to have. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have, please give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to my channel, you can do so by hitting that subscription button down below. It will really help me out to make more videos. And once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Gel and Outdoors.